The conceptual model is divided into three parts. The first one is building blocks, and the second one is rules, and third one is common mechanisms. And once again, the building blocks are divided into, the building blocks are divided into how many types? They are classified into three types. So they are things, relationships, and as well as the diagrams. And once again, those things are divided into four types: structural, behavioral, grouping, and annotational things. They are classified into four types. And I think we started the discussion on structural things. First of all, I want to ask you a question like why the word unified in UML? Can anyone give me an answer? It is better, I feel good if you unmute yourself and if I listen to you. Please unmute yourself and please speak out. Why the word unified in UML? Any one of you, please respond. Already I said that I am recording the class, and if I give a pass means it will be odd. So any one of you, please unmute yourself and please speak out. Cause it unifies all languages. No, the answer is wrong. I said that unified in the sense like unique. I got an answer like unique. No, the answer is not unique. The like what I can say is we use single language to create many models. Exactly, the answer is that one. You can use a single language to create many models. Like that, the diagrams which we discuss in UML are classified into two types: static diagrams and as well as dynamic diagrams. Till now, we have seen one dynamic diagram, that is use case diagram, and that use case diagram. As you all know, the meaning of dynamic, that means we can change up to our requirement. We can change up to our requirement. And there are many dynamic diagrams exist, many static diagrams exist. Like for example, the static diagram is class diagram. I think I said about the class also. Class consists of three parts: class name, class attribute, and class operations. And that diagram is considered as a static diagram. So many diagrams exist, like use case, class, sequence, collaboration, interaction, timing, and component diagram, various types of diagrams exist. So all these diagrams are independent to each other, but we are using the same language in order to represent the software models. So that's why the unified came into picture. Now let us continue with our next topic, that is can you able to see the screen? Please tell me, is the screen is visible for you? That means my notes, is it visible? Yeah, okay. The next is behavioral things. We have completed with the structural things, and the second one is behavioral things. And these things are considered to be as the verbs of a model. So in the normal English language or English vocabulary, a verb is considered to be as a thing which we can do, or a type of work which we can, or which a person or an entity can carry, right? So it is considered as verbs of a model, and these are the dynamic parts which represents the behavior of the model with respect to time and space. And that means these behavioral things changes according to the time and according to the space where the model is yet to build, according to the time and according to the space. The first behavioral thing is interaction. So interacting, the meaning of interacting is nothing but that means right now I'm interacting with you people with my lecture, right? I'm interacting with you people with my lecture. That means I'm communicating. In the same way, the parts or the tools or the artifacts which we use in UML are interacted with each other with an interaction symbol. So here, if you can see, a symbol is given for us. This is considered to be as an interaction. Already I said about uh, one type of relation, right? What is that one? I said about a type of relation, that is association. We have discussed the association. Association is classified into two types, and they are unidirected association. This is the unidirected association, and as well as the bidirected association. So bidirected association, in the sense, there should be a two-way communication has to be built in between the two tools or two entities. Whereas the unidirected association, only one entity communicates with the another entity. In the same way, this is the another type of the connection between two entities, that is interaction. We discuss more on interaction when we discuss about the sequence diagrams. When we discuss about the sequence diagrams. So the next one is state machine. If you can see here, the next one is state machine. Wait a minute. If you can see the definition which is given for state machine, it represents various states. It represents various states through which an object passes in its lifetime in response to events. The example which I gave there is sending. That means I took an rounded rectangle, and in that rounded rectangle, I mentioned a message like sending. Sending is the message which I represented. If you see the definition again, it represents various states through which an object passes in its lifetime. So sending, it is not an it is a continuous process. That means what to send and where to send. We can send messages, we can send objects, we can send any other things to the tools or the artifacts which we use in UML. So once again, I'm repeating this definition. It represents various states through which an object passes in its lifetime in response to events. Events, in the sense, they may be a preceding event and an succeeding event. I think you know the difference between preceding event and as well as a succeeding event. The event which starts before this sending object is considered to be as preceding event, and the event which follows this sending, that is considered to be as the succeeding event. That means this sending operation will be present in between two events. In between two events. The next one is activity. Activity is nothing but it is like a use case. Activity is, in the sense, I can say that it is like a use case. It specifies the sequence of steps. It specifies the sequence of steps, and it is also rendered or represented as rounded rectangle. So processing order, that means I'm placing the order. It is one of the sequence in the scenario. It is one of the sequence of step in the entire scenario. So activity is nothing but I can say that it is a type of use case. Use case, how you define a use case? Use case can be defined as it is the action which is performed by an actor, right? So these three are considered.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
can you make that full screen, sir?
Full screen. Now I'm using the maximized
No, sir.
representation.
Minus plus that clockwise, and after that, that option is there, sir. Once you select it, sir, you'll get full screen.
Where I can't see that.
First one,
Plus
search plus minus, yeah. Fourth one.
fourth one. Now it became very lengthy, right? Can you see the screen properly now? Yes,
Yes, sir.
it's up to you. Okay. And the next one is grouping things in UML. So these three are the behavioral things, that is interaction between two entities, that means passing messages in between two uh, objects or two entities. That is the first one. Next one is state machine, that means it represents the states through which an object passes in its lifetime in response to events. And the third one is activity. It is like an use case only. The next thing is grouping things in UML. It deals with the organizational features. I can, or the definition which is given for grouping things is, it is considered as the organizational features. If you see the example here, institution rules. So it is given as a package. Here, if you can see one example, like a package is represented. The rules you can expect as a bunch of activities, right? That's why it is considered to be as a package. Now, bunch of activities, I think you got the meaning, or you got the definition. So the symbol which is used to represent package is a tabbed folder. One rectangle is given, and above that one tab is given. So all the institute, the rules which you follow in the institution can be considered as the grouping things in UML. The next one is annotational things. Annotating is nothing but providing the additional information about a model. Annotating is nothing but providing the additional information in the model. If you can see, it is used for rendering constraints. It is used for rendering constraints and comments. It is used for rendering constraints and comments. That means additional information. If you can see here, the second line, it provides additional information about a model. These are the explanatory parts. If you want to give more information, if you want to give extra information, we need to go with the annotational things. And it is represented with a, again, it is rendered as a rectangle with a dog-eared corner. If you can see here, one triangle symbol is there here. One triangle symbol is there, that is considered as a dog-eared corner. So here redo is nothing but you may ask me like what additional information is there in that redo. That means I can represent the same word redo in a sentence form, like once again carry the same information, once again redo the things, or once again do it. Like that, I can represent in a statement format. The statement format is compacted with a word called redo. Okay. So annotation is nothing but providing an extra information. Next one. These are the annotation things. Things are classified into four types: structural, behavioral, grouping, and annotational. So we are done with the structural things. We are done with the structural things. The next one is, we are done with the things, the four types of things. The next one is relationships in the UML. If you remember the diagram, let me draw the diagram for you. This is the conceptual model. The entire conceptual model is considered as a gist of the UML, and it is classified into three types. Can anyone tell me what are these three types? The first one is building blocks, and second one is rules, and the third one is common mechanisms. Third one is common mechanisms. Once again, these building blocks are divided into three types. They are things, next one relationships, next one diagrams. These are the three parts in the building blocks. And once again, these things are divided into four types. The first one is structural things, next one behavioral things, next one grouping things, next one annotational things. So till now we have completed with these things concept. These things concept is completed. Now let us start with the relationships. Let us start with the relationships. We have covered the, or we have completed the use case diagram, and in that use case diagram we have used two components. They are actors and use cases. In order to represent the relation or the interaction between the actor and use case, we need to have a relation, right? We need to have a relation, and that relation, which I gave as an example, is association. So I have used association in between actor and the use case. In order to establish the relation between the actor and the use case, I have used the relationship which is called as association. So in UML majorly there are ones explain grouping and annotation. Okay, so if we go for grouping things in UML, it deals with the organizational features. It deals with the organizational features. The example which I gave as an organization feature is institution rules. So whatever the rules which we follow in a particular institution, that institution may be a college, maybe an office, maybe a university, or maybe something else. Okay, for the smooth conduction of the works in that particular organization, we need to have some rules, right? Those, all those rules are combined together as a package. All those rules are combined together as a package, and this package is represented with a tabbed folder. And this package is represented with a tabbed folder. Next, annotational things. Annotation is nothing but giving extra information or providing the extra information. So if you see the notes here, it is used for rendering constraints, that is representing rules and comments. We want to give additional rules or additional comments or additional sentences, statements, we need to have annotation things. I can ask like annotate some essay in English, like that. I can say like that. That means provide the information on essay. Whatever the information which is already present in that essay, apart from that, providing extra information, what you have understood, is nothing but annotating about that particular essay. So it is annotation things are represented with a rectangle with a dog-eared corner. Here the example which I considered for annotational thing is redo. So redo is nothing but carrying the same thing again. That means instead of specifying in a sentence format, here I have represented in a single word. I have represented in a single word. That is nothing but annotational things. Is it clear now? Can I continue with the next one? Can I continue with the next one? Okay. Next one, relationships. Relationships are classified into four types. Actually, we have seen association relation. Once again, I repeat, association relation is classified into two types: unidirectional association and as well as the bidirectional association. If two-way communication has to establish, we have to go for bidirectional association, and if only one way of communication should we need to represent, then we have to go for unidirectional association. The unidirectional association best suits in the use case diagram because actor performs some action. Actor performs some action. So only one way relation exists between the actor and the use case. Okay. The next relation is dependency. Next relation is dependency. It is represented as a dashed arrow. This dependency is represented as a dashed arrow. Here you can see this representation. Here A is the initial position and B is the final position or forwarding position. Here what I can say is, if you see the notes here, A is dependent on B. E is dependent on B. Wherever or to where we are pointing the arrow, that is called as the independent entity, and wherever the arrow is not present, that is called the dependent entity. So A is called the dependent entity and B is called independent entity. So if you want me to give an example, I can represent a teacher and student. So in the position of B, I can place teacher. In the position of A, I can place student. In most of the cases, student is dependent on teacher, right? So this is the example which I can give for dependency relation. Next, changes made to the specification of one thing has its direct impact on the specification of the other thing. Here, what I can say is changes made to the specification of one thing has its direct impact on the specification of the other. Okay, that means if anything is changes in the part of B, it has its direct impact on A. A has to be changed according to the changes which we made in B, because B is an independent entity and A is an dependent entity. Okay, next, here reverse is not possible. If anything happens or anything occurs for A, it won't give a direct impact on B. Only A will be affected if any changes occurs in B, like that. Is it clear? Can I continue with the next one? Yes, no?
Sir, is this include, sir?
What?
Include for use case diagram.
No, this is not include. This is a dependency. If you want to represent as include relationship, you have to use stereotypes. I think in the last class I said in the offline class, stereotypes are represented with angular brackets, right? Stereotype is represented with angular brackets, and the synonym for stereotype is guillemint. Gulliment. Yes or no? Do you remember that? Interface or stereotype or guillemint, all these three considered to be as the same. Stereotype, interface, guillemint, all these three things are considered to be as the same. One more thing, I'm warning you people that you have to be very perfect and very appropriate in representing the relations between two entities in UML. If you replace one relationship with the another entity, means the entire concept of the model which you are supposed to build will change. So the appropriate relation has to be established in between, representing the relationships between the entities which you use in building your models. Okay, a dependency is different from interface or stereotype. The next one is association. Actually, I said about this association while discussing about the use case diagram. I think there is no need for me to re-explain this thing, because obviously you people will feel bored on this if I or if I do one more example with this. Next one is generalization. The next example is generalization. I think this also I have covered in the class. So engineering department, it's in general, if we want to use generalization between two entities, those two entities should be a child entity and as well as a parent entity. Those two entities should be a child entity and as well as a parent entity. Here in the place of parent entity, I can give engineering departments as an example. And in the place of child entity, I can give the names of various departments like CSE, EC, Triple, IT, Mining, Mechanical, and so on. So all the departments are considered to be as a child entities, and the parent entity is nothing but engineering departments. That means that is the explanation which I can give for generalization. Next one is realization. If you see the representation which I used for realization is dashed arrow with a triangle at the end. Dashed arrow with a triangle at the end. If you see the definition, it defines an agreement that the other classifier ensures to carry out. It defines an agreement that the other classifier ensures to carry out. And that means in the place of A, the example which I can give is here in the place of A, I can give as manufacturing department. The example which I consider at position A is manufacturing department. Obviously, the manufacturing department manufactures a product. Obviously, the manufacturing department manufactures a product, right? Have you got the meaning for realization, or do you want me to repeat again? It manufactures a product. So MD is nothing but manufacturing department, and if you see the definition here, it defines an agreement that the other classifier ensures to carry out. This is the classifier which is considered as a manufacturing department, and the agreement to carry is in order to manufacture a product. If I want to specify a teacher in the place of A, so teacher ensures to carry the activity called as teaching. Definitely this teacher has to carry the activity called teaching. In this scenario, we can establish the realization relationship between the two entities. Yes, is it clear? There are four types of relationships exist. The first one is dependency, second one association, and third one generalization, and fourth one realization. Is it clear for you? Can I continue with the next one? One question, sir. It's combination of nouns and verbs. Yeah, realization, exactly. Can I continue with the next one? Is this relationships concept is clear for you? Only I got the message from one student. Okay, yeah. The next one is diagrams. So diagrams, the things, relationships, and the third one is diagrams. We have completed with things, and we have completed with relationships, and the third one is diagrams. So it represents the graphical representation of a system to be developed. It represents the graphical representation of a system to be developed. So there are 13 kinds of diagrams exist in UML. Till now we have seen only one diagram, but no need to panic, no need to get panic, because we won't discuss all these 13 diagrams. We discuss only some of the diagrams like use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, component diagram, and deployment diagram. If we know the sequence diagram, obviously we will be knowing the collaboration diagram. So there are only 5 diagrams are there, but actually there are 13 diagrams exist in UML, but we discuss only these 5 diagrams. The first one is use case, second one class, third one sequence. If we know the sequence diagram, obviously we'll be knowing the collaboration diagram. And the fourth one is component diagram, and fifth one is deployment diagram. Here I use the statement like, if you know the sequence diagram, obviously you will be aware of the collaboration diagram. Like that, I gave a statement. These two diagrams are considered to be as an isomorphic diagrams. These two diagrams are considered to be as isomorphic diagrams. Can anyone let me know the meaning of what is the meaning of isomorphic diagram? So leave about the term called diagram. Tell me the general meaning of isomorphism. Is there anyone who can answer to my query? Or if you know the meaning of isomorphism, please let me know. One substance in many forms. Okay, okay, 90%. Okay, 100% is correct. But what I can give the exact definition for isomorphism is, we can convert one form to another form. Your answer is 100% correct. And the if I want to rephrase your uh, answer, I can say like one form we can represent one form to another form, or we can convert to one form to another form. We can convert sequence diagram into collaboration diagram, and collaboration diagram into sequence diagram without any loss of information. Here, without any loss of information is the important sentence or important part in the sentence, without loss of any information. Here, the example which I can give for isomorphic substances is water and as well as ice. We can convert water into ice and ice into water. Water into ice cubes and ice cubes into water. So those two are considered to be as isomorphic substances. Those two are considered to be as isomorphic substances, which can be converted into one form to another form. But milk and curd are not isomorphic substances, because we can convert milk into curd, but we can't convert the curd into milk, like that. Let us continue with the concept called diagrams. So there are 13 kinds of diagrams exist in UMLs, and this is the classification of those diagrams. Static diagrams and as well as dynamic diagrams. Static diagrams is nothing but there will be the model won't reflect any meaning if we keep on change the diagram once we represent. So class diagram is considered to be a static diagram. Next, object, component, composite, structure, deployment, package, these are all considered as static diagrams. And dynamic diagrams is nothing but according to the requirements of the user, and as well as the client, and as well as the developer, and as well as the tester, and as well as the DevOps engineer, we can remodel these types of diagrams, which are considered to be as the dynamic diagrams. So dynamic diagrams are use case diagram, sequence, communication, state chart, activity, and timing diagram. So once again, let me say what are the various diagrams which we discuss in our syllabuses. We will discuss about use case, sequence, state chart. Previously, I forgot to mention the state chart, and activity, and class, component, deployment. I'm really sorry. We'll be discussing about 7 diagrams in our UML. Previously, I said only 5 diagrams are there. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 7 diagrams we will discuss in our syllabus. Now let us see each diagram in particular. So the first one is static diagrams. So it is the first example which I taken here is considered here is class diagram. So you all know class diagram consists of classes. So this is the one of the first structural thing which I explained for you people. So class diagram obviously consists of classes. Class consists of 3 parts: a class name, and class attributes, and as well as class responsibilities. And attributes or properties is considered to be as the same, and responsibility is something about the functional requirements which a class is given, or the functional requirements which we can associate with the class. So the purpose of the class diagram is to visualize, specify, and document the structural modeling. Here the purpose is to visualize, specify, and document the structural modeling. Okay, and it consists of classes, interfaces, and collaborations. You all know the meaning of a class, and you all know the meaning of an interface. Interface is nothing but it represents the service of a class. And collaboration. The example which I gave for collaboration is administration, which is represented in a dotted ellipse. If you remember, I think you have noted in your notes also. Collaboration is represented with a dotted ellipse, and administration is the example which I gave for collaboration. The last point for today is object diagram. Object diagram is nothing but it is same as class diagram, and it gives static snapshots of elements. For example, if you remember the attributes which I can give for a class, for example, if you consider window as a class, the attributes are length and breadth. If I give values of for those length and breadth, they are considered to be as the objects. They are considered to be as the objects. Length is, for example, 2 feet, 3 feet, like that. Breadth is also, it is considered to be as the a value, a certain value which I can give. If I consider student as my class, obviously name will be one of the attribute. The name can be like Sunil, Suman, Shekhar, or something else like that. Roll number. If we consider roll number as a property, I can give an object to roll number as 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, like that. If I give any value for the attribute, it is considered to be as an object. Okay, is it clear? So whatever the topics which I have discussed so far, is it clear for you? Okay, then I'm stopping my class here, and we will discuss in the next class. Thank you for attending. Have a good day.
Sir, notes. Can you send the notes, sir?
Notes, I think, have you taken the snapshot
Only somewhere.
only?
I took as possible, sir.
Notes at the end of the semester I can forward.
Sir.
Okay, then, yeah, you can leave for today.